The next question I got was, how do you deal with imposter syndrome? And imposter syndrome is interesting because it's something that nearly everyone experiences, and it's also something that we do to ourselves. It's not necessarily coming from external forces. People aren't saying, you don't belong here. You're saying it to yourself. So there's a couple different ways that I deal with this and that I would suggest for other people to deal with this. The first is one that actually came from therapy. My therapist told me essentially, we did an activity where she said, think of yourself as your 3-year-old self, and what would you say to your 3-year-old self in this situation? And I think that that works really well for imposter syndrome, to kind of think of yourself as a child. What would you say to your younger self in the situation? Would you say, you don't deserve this, you shouldn't be here, you're not good enough for this, whatever imposter syndrome is telling you? No, you wouldn't say that. You would say, go for it, this is great, you have value, you have dreams, you have talent, you have a voice to add to the conversation. And so I think if you're feeling that, just to remember to be kind to yourself, and remember that you do belong here, or you do belong in the space that you create for yourself, or the opportunities that you have. There are no rules about who belongs and who doesn't. And this is particularly true in writing. When it comes to writing, everybody's voice is important. And we need diverse voices, and that can be in everything in every industry. So if you have something to say, or you have something that you want to add to the conversation, don't tell yourself that you don't, or that you don't belong there, because you do. And your voice, especially bringing something unique and new to any conversation, is something that people need, that everybody needs, and that's going to expand our ideas and the conversation in ways that other people wouldn't have thought. And so I think just being kind to yourself, and giving yourself that self-love, even if it's scary, and remembering that, I think also focusing on what you ultimately want, for yourself, and not being the person who gets in the way of that. So I would say everybody probably at some point experiences imposter syndrome, even people who are at the top. But just because you're feeling those feelings doesn't make them true. Yeah, if you're a writer, you belong, and remind yourself that the world needs your voice.